Parents should not use their children as their retirement plan. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. There is an interview that's going around about, with Stephen Smith and his daughter, and he's talking about how, she should allow him to come and stay with her when he gets older and take care of him. And she's like, no, you're going to a facility. And, my thoughts around this is that, and I don't know Stephen Smith and I don't know his daughter, but I will say the line of thinking that your children are supposed to care for you and they're supposed to look out for you and that you're not supposed to have any sort of plan outside of your children. I do think that is abusive, and it's not only abusive, but it's irresponsible to have that line of thinking that like, oh, I can just do whatever and that my children are going to pick up the slack. When you raise your children with the idea that hopefully they will outlive you and that they will have their good lives to go out and prosper and raise their own families and the like. But you also raise your children, part of caring for yourself and for your children is to make sure that you are also responsible and that you also have yourself and your needs taken care of when you retire. And that is not something that you necessarily want to pass on to your children, where you have this expectation, well, I don't really have to, put aside money. I don't really have to have a retirement plan. I don't really have to have an elder plan because you guys are going to take care of it. Part of loving your children is also setting yourself up for your later years so that is not their burden to bear, or that's not something where they have to financially foot the bill either. Now, if you've talked about to your children and you have involved them in your family planning and you all as a family have come up with the plan that, hey, mom, dad, when you get older, when you grow elderly, I'm going to move into your house, or I'm going to take this over and you're going to stay with me and we're going to have family care, or you can come move in with me and we have an in-law unit and we're going to make sure. That's a different story. If you've talked to it and everybody is in agreement with that, but to just have an expectation that, I don't have to worry about myself. I don't have to talk to my children. My expectation is that, yeah, my children are going to take care of me. I don't really have any expectations outside of that. You have to understand that children are people too. They are autonomous beings. Especially if you and your children don't have a good relationship, that is something you definitely want to talk to them, see what they're okay with. But if you don't have a good relationship with your children should not be your retirement plan, because chances are, and this isn't always the case, but chances are your children kind of want to, have some space away from you, and they don't want to have, they put up with you for 18 or how many ever years. They don't necessarily want to have to put up with disrespect and bring that disrespect into the family that they create. Or even if they're single, they don't necessarily want to bring the disrespectful dynamic that you and them have along for the ride. And so I think that that's another level of disrespect that parents have, where your children is seen as like, they're always going to be children. They're going to do what I say. They're always going to take care of me, where you want someone to be your servant, be obedient, and take care of you, because you are their parent. That's another way of belittling and undermining your children. And it speaks to the dynamic that you have with your children, the lack of respect that you have for your children. And it also speaks to, just the way in which you see and honor your children's lives, where you feel like your child's life, even in adulthood, should revolve around you. Everything should stop and revolve around you and take care of you. And there are some parents that are like, hell yeah, I think that my children should do that. But, children can make choices for themselves once they become 18. And that's something that a lot of people should be reminded of. And children also become resentful of parents that want to force themselves onto their children, particularly if you don't have a good relationship. And if you want to take care of your parents, that's fine. This video isn't for you, but I'm talking about parents who specifically have that expectation that you're going to do that, especially if they disrespected you and they didn't treat you well as a child. Yeah, you're going to take care of me. I don't really have any other expectations. I think that is very harmful to adult children. There are also parents that are finding out the hard way. You can have that expectation if you want to. Your child is not going to abide by that. And so there are parents that have the expectation that their child is going to take care of them, and they drop that bomb, and their child is like, no, we're not. They're going to drop you off at the first facility and leave out on the first thing smoking as soon as they can. When I've worked at skilled nursing and other facilities like that, it happens more times than I can count, where parents get dropped off and they never see or hear from their children ever again. But I've also seen it too, whereas, parents are like, their children want to take care of them, and parents are like, nope, we have our plan set up. We've got too many medical issues. That's way too much for you to take care of. And we're going to handle it while we're still capable and able. We're going to do this level of planning for our retirement. We're going to take care of things. We're going to sell off our home. We're going to financially make this work so that we will never, ever burden our children. And while we love our children and our children would love nothing more to take care of us, that's not a burden we're willing to put on our children. So I've seen it play out a number of ways, but I just thought that the interview was really interesting, where his expectation was that his daughter would take care of him. I will also say, again, in working in healthcare for years, I have seen this expectation more often than not placed on daughters more than sons, where the expectation is the daughter will take care of her parents, even if you have a son, even if she remarries and has children of her own, but it's the daughter that's going to take care of us, and sons get to go off and take care of, do life on their own terms. There is that expectation that the daughter would do that. And I'm not saying that there's not cultures and things like that where, the expectation isn't placed on the son, but I've seen daughters, the expectation of caregiving and looking out after elder placed more so with daughters, where the sons don't necessarily have that expectation, at least from a cultural standpoint in the United States. So let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, follow, and share. And definitely hype this video up if you see it on YouTube. Take care. Thanks so much.